Hey guys, it's Van again. Welcome back to another episode of Etches and 32K Car Talk. I'm actually driving in my Acura TSX today. I actually got a new lens. It's the Teco concave lens that allows you to actually see things in more depth, I guess. Like you can see like a wider angle. So I thought that was kind of cool. You know, you guys kind of like see exactly what's behind me instead of just seeing like my big face right in front of the camera. But anyway, today's topic is it's pretty interesting. You know, I did a video on buying a used RXX, and I'm surprised it actually helped a lot of people. And it's kind of funny because I've had my S2000 for a lot longer, and so I wanted to keep this video about buying a used S2000 and what, you know, problems you could potentially face when you buy one. And I've had that car for about 4.5, going on 5 years now, and I wanted to share with you guys out there that are pondering the fact of buying a used S2000, you know, what you can look for when you buy it. And keep in mind that I've had two S2000s. This is my second one. My first S2000 was a 2005, and this one is a 2003. And the 2003, which is the one I currently own, is the one that I've had for about 4.5 years. So I'm trying to focus that video on that one. But I think in general, you know, for the most part, it applies to, you know, a lot of S2000s out there, especially used ones. So first off, the first problem that I realized that I had when I had the car was when I was driving the S2000 from San Diego back to Los Angeles. It's about a 2.5-hour drive. I noticed that the clutch was making a clicking noise when I like disengage it. And similarly to the RSX, you know, the S2000 also has an issue with a clutch slave cylinder, and more so the clutch slave cylinder rod that's inside the cylinder that kind of compresses and depresses when you engage or disengage the clutch. There's a lot of DIYs on the S2KI forums, or just basically if you Google S2000 CSC or S2000 clutch slave cylinder, you'll find out that when you take it apart, when you take out the rod, there's a nipple inside that cylinder that it kind of protrudes out. You know, you can kind of feel it. And what you need to do is you need to grind that down so that it's flush and smooth with the rod. And you're gonna want to get a temp grease. The grease that I got is the Honda OEM high temp urea grease. I think you can get that on eBay. You can't really go to the dealers anymore. It's green. It's really small. It's this small. It's about $20. It's kind of expensive, but that temp, in my experience, is the best high temp grease that you can use, especially with those rods. They don't wear out, and I've looped that. I've applied that high temp grease onto the clutch slave cylinder rod, and I put it back into the S2000, and it's been about 3 years, and I have not had one issue with the car. So after that, you know, you're compressing and decompressing, engaging, disengaging of the clutch should be smooth. No more clicks, nothing. So if you're experiencing that issue, and I think a lot of S2000s have that issue, I had that with my other S2000, but you know, I never got a chance to address it. But with this car, I did, and all issues with the clutch went away. So problem number one is if you're having any clicking or any kind of like hesitation or kind of rough clutch feel, do that. You know, do a search on S2KI for clutch slave cylinder rod. Use high temp urea grease. Use sandpaper to grind down that nipple on the rod. Put everything back, and you should be good. Problem number two is basically when you're going into reverse on the car, or when you're like from a standstill and you're going in first gear, you're kind of going like you're about to accelerate, and you hear like a click noise, a really loud click noise from like the back of the car. That's very common in S2000s, more so than the actual CSC clutch slave cylinder rod that I mentioned earlier, and that's due to the fact that your rear axle nuts are loose and they need to be retorqued. When I say retorque, it means that they're not torqued down tight enough, and over time they might get loose. There's a TSB on this issue on the S2000s, and if you take your car into like dealer or certain third-party shops that specialize in S2000s, they'll actually do it for free because they honor that policy. And if they're like an enthusiast, they're kind of aware of that fact already. So it's kind of nice of them to do so. But anyway, you have to basically take off your rear tires, jack up the car, and you have to have like an impact gun to kind of break that rear axle nut loose. It's on really tight. I don't recommend doing it by hand unless you're like really strong and you can muscle it out. But I got my rear axle nuts retorqued to about 250 pounds torque. That's higher than what the Honda factory used to recommend. A lot of S2000 mechanics on S2KI have confirmed this. And 250 pound torque, and after that your problem should go away. You shouldn't have that click noise anymore when you're going to reverse or accelerating from a stop. I recommend you doing that. If you get that clicking sound, it's pretty loud. You'll be able to hear it. At first you'll think it's like your brake pad sticking or something like that, but it's not. I guarantee you it's the rear axle nut needing to be torqued. So get that done, and that should take care of it. Third problem is my car was actually lowered, and I guess this applies to a lot of S2000 owners out there. Your car is lowered. I recommend getting rear drive shaft axle spacers. There's a lot of DIYs and a lot of forum threads on this. The reason being so is my car had a slight vibration when I was driving, and that's because the vibration on a lowered S2000 puts a lot of stress on the rear suspension components on the car. So when you put a rear drive shaft axle spacer on there, it kind of spaces out the suspension components, and it allows the S2000 to actually run a lot smoother, and the parts don't wear on each other. So basically, if you're having a lowered S2000, look into getting a rear drive shaft axle spacer. So if you're having any vibrations on the rear or being lowered at all, I recommend doing that. A lot of aftermarket third-party parts for that, you can get them anywhere. Fairly basic setup. Take off the rear tires, take off the brake lines, take off the rear axle drive shaft, and just put them on and bolt everything back. Vibration should go away. So I recommend doing that. That's one of the problems that I had when I bought the car. But all in all, I mean, S2000 is a great car. It's great from the factory. You don't need to do much to the car, maintain it. Another common thing, especially in the AP1s. By AP1 I mean 2000 to 2003 USDM S2000s, is the clutch slave cylinder. The one that holds the fluid, clutch fluid. The AP2 USDM is a lot better than the JDM, and I was actually having a little leak in my 2003 S2000. It leaked into the door well. So you can actually replace it with an AP2 2004, 2005, and they're actually a lot better than the 2003. So if you do that, it should help with the leak and get rid of all your problems. So it's a common problem with the 2003 S2000s. So maybe kind of pay attention to that when you're doing a clutch fluid change. Check for seepage. Check the interior, the door well, driver's side area to see there's nothing leaking down in that area, and just swap it out. It's just a couple bolts. You're gonna have to bleed the clutch again. There's a lot of DIYs on the S2KI on the forums on how to do that. You can do like a gravity bleed and basically everything will be fine. So yeah, check it out. Other than that, I mean, I have not had any other issues with the car. Everything shifts smooth. I'd use Amsoil Synchro Mesh 5W30 transmission fluid, and the gears shift a lot more smooth than before. It's not really a problem. It's more of like a preference thing, but you could use that as well. But all in all, not as many problems. I mean, very basic things, little things that like OCD car guys like myself like to address. And you know, you can find parts to everything that I've bought from my car on my website under the products tab, S2000. You know, anyway, I think that's about it, you know. If you guys have any issues or any comments or any questions, you know, please post them in the comment section or just post them on my website, etchison32k.com, and I'll try to get to you guys. I've had a couple of questions about my RXX, and I'll probably address those in another video. I wanted to give you guys a more personal response rather than just typing it out for you guys. That way you guys can have a better understanding. And you know, I'll try to include a lot more little DIYs. I haven't really had any need to do any maintenance on my car except for like a little minor stuff. But yeah, please comment and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Good luck to anybody out there that's buying an S2000, and I hope this video helped. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care, bye.